Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful empowered harmonizers. We are zooming in and focusing in on a very important aspect or trait of a relationship with someone who is narcissistic or psychopathic, and that is particularly the feeling of being objectified or, in my viewpoint, sort of used as a crutch. When we talk about a relationship with someone who is narcissistic or psychopathic, and in this case, really on the idea of more of someone who is female psychopathic, the experience of being objectified, sort of being dehumanized, being de-emotionalized, or being treated as an object, like a physical object, devoid of emotion, devoid of values, devoid of needs, really as they get to sort of on the deeper level, just sort of that they should be non-existent or aren't able to sort of live in the relationship. And when I talk about live, I mean being expressed, being aired out, being lived in. So meaning that, in a relationship, if there is compromise with someone who is narcissistic or psychopathic, the compromise is different, I would say, than in most relationships, meeting someone in the middle, a little give and take, a little, interdependence or intercollaboration. And really, when, we're talking about really sort of being objectified, we're being sort of oftentimes treated as an obstacle, or really what is more intense is that of a crutch, which means they rely on their supply, they rely on their victim to prop them up and make them stronger, contrary to the opposite of which they will extol or project. So, this is a very intense realization when we think about narcissist relationships that are wrought with relationships that are termed supply, which means there is something that they were receiving from you, that you were giving either consciously or subconsciously, and the direction of the giving, meaning the affection, the consideration, the attention, the limelight, the dark light, the purple light, whatever light, was to be on them. So it was all sort of incoming their direction and sort of not really outgoing in yours. But it feels like you're being outgoing, you're being generous, you're being gregarious, you're being supportive. So it's very difficult, or easy rather, to miss this feeling of sort of one track attention in, towards filling them up, filling up their cup, ultimately filling up their ego. And this really becomes a source of not really idolatry, but really one of dependence, where the narcissist will then depend on the supply source for that support, and it really becomes like a crutch relationship, meaning that they're leaning on you for your support and not, for your inter support or your independence, your autonomy. You're seeing things both ways. We're on equal ground here. It is more the feeling that they are sort of isolating you and using you for a very specific purpose. So the relationship can then feel that it's not well rounded, that it's not planned out for the both of you, but you're somehow along for the ride, or you're somehow going through it on a day by day basis, and you're not really reflecting forward, you're not really reflecting back. You're sort of like living in the moment and then hoping that that moment will result in some pleasure. But then the crutch, then, it begins to get a little shaky. The relationship can get a little bit shaky, very wobbly, and really unsteady and insecure when, narcissist rage enters, the picture. There is then really generally then a resentment. The narcissist then resents, and the psychopath also, they resent the people whom they have as supply, for the very fact that deep inside they realize that it's fostering and maintaining their insecurity, their fragile, very delicate ego, and that you are sort of a little bit of a glue that's holding their delicacy, their fine paper wrapping, into place, and that eventually it starts to rip a little bit, and then you don't look like such, the right supply anymore, that they're always sort of looking for bigger, better, faster, stronger, etc. So they're going to keep sort of a crack window open for their own getaway. And this crutch is because they need others. A psychopath will admit to you, a narcissist will admit to you that they need others. So in other words, there's something that they derive, their sustenance is derived from others in this sort of, I don't want to say parasitic, but dependent sort of way. And so relationships then are seen as, not equal or not desirable through the eyes of the narcissist when they sort of realize their dependency on you, and that they really sort of can't give you what you have promised or are giving them. So they realize that they can't give you like in return. And then things get cold, things get resentful. All of a sudden, you're too predictable, you're too normal, you're too average, you're not sort of, on this sort of special category that they sort of identify themselves with, sort of the grandiosity, the entitled, the sort of exclusive, the sort of better than group that they have put themselves in, and then have created a past so that this will always be the public persona, but it's not usually what you're actually getting inside. And so when you get to the authentic, when things begin to show their colors, they're going to sort of back you down, just sort of hurling insults, hurling sarcastic jokes, sort of making you the butt of jokes, or making you uncomfortable, feeling unattractive, sort of prying on your weak spots. Oh, look, you've got a hole in your shoe. Oh, look, you've got, a rip in your whatever. Your headlight is out. Look at the scar on your face. Look at the, they'll all of a sudden find one little sort of thing that's, a hair that's off, and they'll start, oh, you just need some work, or whatever it is that the way that they sort of deflect you or defer you down to just sort of, get off me like this. And it comes as a very shock when they begin to, turn the corner in the relationship. You're getting the cold-heartedness, you're getting that, and you're, it's oftentimes very confusing because it does not make emotional sense when either you exploit them, or you find that they're becoming colder and colder, more and more distant, or that you find out some really strange information that all of a sudden you see them on a Facebook, or you see them somewhere else and they appear as if a completely different person, like you don't recognize them, and that they're putting on some sort of charade, and they have an ability to sort of be two-faced, three-faced, and not just sort of having conflicting viewpoints, but having sort of conflicting identities, on a very complete and replete with, different personality traits within both. Very odd to witness, it seems like a metamorphosis. And once again, it's not like someone just changing up their hairstyle. There's this complete different change of being or personality, which comes out, which is very odd, once again, to witness. It's like completely different people or different vibes coming from the same person, the same skin. It's like, wow, I've never witnessed this sort of shift. It's an energetic shift, which is very intense. But anyway, getting back to the topic at hand is that, the narcissist is sort of needing, those people. And then when it becomes to the point where you have to actually begin to enable them. In other words, here we go again. I have to talk up how good your music is, or here it is, I have to, get you ready for this and this event, and I have to be there in this very sort of precarious way where I make one dish, but I'm not here for that event, and then I'm here for the phone call, but I'm not here for this, and then it becomes this really sort of complicated how we relate to each other. Are things on the way in? Are they on the way out? It becomes, this whole sort of, rat in a maze trying to find where is our next cheese, where is our next, togetherness, and it becomes fewer and far in between. And so the difficult part is really, I feel that, the hardship on those people who are in relationships with them is when it does not compute, it does not make emotional sense when they begin to resent you for no reason. They begin to look at you with less affection for no reason, not contact you for no reason, or intermittently or sporadically. In other words, it becomes plagued with uncertainty, doubt. This is when the gaslighting and then the brainwashing really kick in, and then you might have like ruminating thoughts, intrusive thoughts about, what do I need to do to get the relationship back? Is there some new, sprout that I need to have in my life? And then all of a sudden I'm attractive to them. And then the people then begin to try to self-improve to re-impress a narcissist. And it becomes this external game that they try to play back with, the narcissist. It's like a relationship playback. You're trying to play back to them with what you think that they need, or, be and reflect their game, but it might not suit you, but you do it anyway because it feels like, well, this could be the next, edge of the relationship, and then it becomes like a Jekyll or Hyde, and you don't know who you're dealing with. And it's once again because, in my viewpoint, the narcissist and the psychopath, they kind of utilize their supply as a crutch, meaning to get them through something. To, when they're weak, for them to lean on you, and you don't understand that they're leaning on you. You think that it's an interdependence. So again, it's a play of perception. It's a misperception and a deception. And then the narcissist thinks that this makes them attractive. The woman of mystery, the man of mystery, psychopath also, they kind of, especially when their other friends, might talk them up. Oh, you're so sly, you're so good, you're so fast, you're so whatever. You're the, they might even give you, these sort of cute nicknames. Oh, you're such a playboy, you're such a playgirl, you're such a muffin, or whatever you want to, little cute names that they actually might then being, having compliments for being this way, for being a hustler, for being a hustless, or whatever they call it, and that you're really a go-getter, or, it might take on these different meanings, and yet others are going to be made to suffer because they all of a sudden get chucked to the other side of the room because they no longer want that crutch, because they're being discovered, they're being found out, their true colors, in other words, and then you'll see that they will pick up another crutch. Oh, look, they have another relationship already. This one's much younger. They have another relationship already. This one's much older. It just surprises people how soon they have someone else, and it's like, they then begin to feel objectified or used in the relationship, that they were just stringing me along to get them through, to get them through something. It can get them through a holiday, to get them through, a relationship breakup, to get them through needing, a companion, to get them through, their finals of their school, whatever it is. There can be, this period of, I would say, learning, that it's then understanding that it's not you, it's how the narcissist just sort of consume in relationships and sort of lean on others. What feels like interdependence and mutual understanding is actually, it's all defined by them. It's, you don't realize, but the relationship is going to be on their terms, their structure. And once you sort of, the relationship progresses, you'll realize that they, can't be responsible and accountable in the relationship. They can't give you back what you are giving to them, and things can't hold on. They can't, hang together. They become unstitched. They become undone, and it's no fault of your own. It's just that these individuals, once they get revealed sort of for their crutch, or they feel that they're going to get found out, that's when they begin to make things look bad to you. And actually make things bad, they will. Through the gaslighting, through the brainwashing, once again, confusing you. All of a sudden that, you wanted too much, you're taking, it's your fault here, it's, your fault. And then they begin the whole blame game. And it doesn't oftentimes compute and make sense. So that is the sort of what is kind of like, and then how people then begin to enter into codependency, where this becomes repeated again and again, and they're finding that they're not being fulfilled in these relationships, but they feel at least they are connecting with somebody, and they then begin to have such a dire need for connection that codependence is a place, it's a start place for them, and that then it's better than nothing, is I think what a lot of people who enter into these relationships that are like polar opposites, that it's better, it's either familiar, they're good at it. In other words, I've been doing this again and again and again. I'm good at taking care of people. I'm good at putting others first. I'm good at listening. I'm good at being altruistic. So this relationship feels like a perfect fit for me. So a lot of people enter the relationship with this sort of unconscious awareness of why it's going to go the direction that it does, but you don't kind of like you're in the thick of it when you are. You don't realize, the gloomy emotional forecast that it has in store, because of the dynamics, because of the types of connections it is with this individual, that it's sort of replete with dysfunction. And it can carry on, people can be in denial and try to make the relationship work, but ultimately someone is going to have to pay the price, and it's going to be the one who's the supply, the one who's used as a crutch, the one who's used, to make them look good, to serve as an outlet, to serve as their pet, to serve as their incubator, to serve as their whatever, that they might de-stress with you somehow, and then they're on to their quote-unquote real relationship, or what they will then term as real, until they use that one as a crutch, and they just continue to move forward. And yes, it does oftentimes just go in that same direction. So you have to realize that if you felt that sort of heartlessness, realize it's because you are caring, loving, and you deserve that interdependence and interaction that's based on open communication, and not being sort of used to satisfy someone's dependency needs or insecurities. This is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. I hope the videos do help. Please share, subscribe, and please join the new Peace and Harmony memberships for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. And also we're going to be adding some sort of workshop type classes in the membership. So I hope you do check this out. Have a beautiful day.